Performance road cycling gear continues to evolve. What's actually worth your money? What is just hype? We have a list of current trends here in 2025, and we have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Will and I are gonna go through, find out where to best spend your money. Let's dive into it. Okay, first one, Aero socks, Aero shoe covers. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, all right, tell us why.
Yeah, that's worth it. I mean, it's such a good bang for buck. If you're gonna wear socks anyway, might as well have them optimized. Recent studies have shown that it's actually a pretty big increase, so I'll pay for it.
And it's like you could get a new frame and spend $1,000, $2,000 and probably realize the same performance benefit. Your feet and your legs, especially your lower legs, are incredibly important for aerodynamics. Aero socks, Aero shoe covers, even like the really high-end ones, 30 bucks, like 40 bucks maybe. It's really cheap, it's low-hanging fruit, awesome. And then the next one, the man bra. I don't even know what this thing is called. The Aero base layer, right?
Aero bra.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. I'm going down. I just can't get behind it. It's like a personal thing. Like when I see people wearing it, I realize this is like almost flying in the face of what I just said because these things are like 40 bucks. I don't know if there's actually a performance benefit. And to me, when I'm wearing it, especially like during the crit season in the summer, it's just like makes me hot and uncomfortable. But tell us why you give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I have never actually used one before. We've done a lot of Aero testing with them, and it depends on the fabric that you have over top of the Aero bra. I just ordered one from AliExpress, so we'll see if I enjoy it or not. But I feel like having the Aero bra hang under your kit, that's a weird look for me. I wouldn't want that. I would do something to change that. But otherwise, if it's not too hot of a race, I'd give it a go.
And I see that now jerseys have that texture, because it's the texture is what you're getting, right? It's counterintuitive. Like I would always thought like the smoothest is the fastest. You actually want a little texture for optimized aerodynamics. Now you see, especially in the pro peloton, a lot of their jerseys, which come all the way down to their elbow, have that texture in their upper arm, because that, when you're leaning over your bike, that's a really critical part, just like your lower leg that we just talked about. So we finally disagreed on one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, how about the Aero helmet, like the TT helmet for road bikes, the visor? You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
3, 2, 1. Yeah. There is something to be said for like tradition in our sport. And when you wear this thing, it is violating tradition. But more than that, it is, I've never actually worn one, but it just feels like a sauna on your head. I can't imagine that would be a comfortable move. There's probably an Aero benefit to it.
Oh yeah, I think they can be done tastefully, but the majority of options that are on the market right now are not done tastefully. I mean, even like the ear coverings, I'm split on at the moment.
Yeah.
So the whole visor thing, I've raced with one before. We'll put a picture up of me racing with one, and it is goofy. Like it doesn't feel different when you're doing it, but race pictures after, you're like, oh, is he?
Will we see that pick up though? Because this has been a product on the market for 10 years. Like I saw them 10 years ago, and it just hasn't really caught on. Is that tradition? Like why hasn't it picked up? Or maybe the Aero benefit's not as big as it appears, right? Because you can't see aerodynamics is something we've learned on this channel.
It's a very high pressure area. They figured out that like even a beard doesn't really do that much to change your...
That's why I don't win races. Oh wait, it's why it doesn't slow me down very much?
No, it doesn't slow you down. It could make you faster in some situations, but I'm not certain the actual degree of improvement that would have.
Okay, what about a Skinsuit or like a San Remo suit is what they used to call them. Basically, the jersey and the bib stitched together. How do we feel about that for racing? 3, 2, 1. Yes. I am a fan. They have to have pockets, right?
Pockets.
Yeah. I know a lot of skin suits don't have pockets. Cannot get behind those unless you're actually doing a time trial. Then it makes sense. But even for crits, I just like the pocket.
Yeah, I don't really want to put gels underneath my legs.
Oh, yeah.
That used to be a really common thing. Like you just take your bib short up and then put a gel underneath. I don't like pulling that out during a race or any of that. But having the zip up in the right spot. Suits are nice now. They're comfortable.
Yeah, and it's just one piece, like it's optimized, so you don't have that seam in between the two. It feels faster. I don't know if it actually is. We don't have like wind tunnel data to tell you guys it's faster, but it is just nice having that single suit. And what I do when I go to like Intelligentsia or like, you know, stage races or things like that, is I will just have my number on like one San Remo suit or Skinsuit, and then you just throw the whole thing in the wash, and it's all together as one unit. So it's like, that's my race setup. That's really nice. All right, what about leg shaving? Where are you at on leg shaving? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
What's the deal with legs? Why do cyclists shave their legs?
It's a little goofy. Like, explaining it to people is probably the worst part of leg shaving, but in reality, it's more of a vanity thing for me. Like, I think it just looks better. Like, everybody should probably do this, but it also helps when you crash. The cleanup is easier.
It's true.
Aerodynamic benefits, better. But I mean, let's be honest, what we're doing it for, so you don't get called out by other cyclists. That's me.
It like obviously says you're serious about the sport. Whether you agree with that or not, that's what it says. The one thing I like, and I'm the person who like doesn't for long periods of time, and then in the summer I'm like putting SPF 50 on my legs, and I'm like, I should shave my legs because it's so annoying when it's like, yeah, it's gross. It's gross. We don't have to get into it, but I think we're both thumbs up on that. All right, ceramic bearings. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So. Okay, so where do bearings go on your bike? The hubs, the free hub, the headset, and then the bottom bracket. So there are some places where it's more acceptable than other places to use ceramic bearings. The idea with the ceramic bearing compared to steel bearings, which is traditional, is ceramic is a harder material. So allegedly it's supposed to have better performance. It rolls faster. I don't know, I mean, we're talking about maybe a watt. Like, it is so small. And then I've seen people with ceramic bearings and their headset bearings. It's like, what are you doing? Like, there's no performance. That's just how you steer. The headset's how you steer. The place where it makes some sense is like in the bottom bracket or in the hubs of your actual wheels. Now, if you're like going for the hour record in the track, yes, go for it. But I'll say one thing, what pros do for like, you know, world tour races and things like that is they will take well, maybe ceramic bearings, but what they'll do is they'll take the cartridge style bearings and take the seals off of them, degrease them completely, and put in like a really light oil in there. Now, what this does is it gives you incredibly free spinning, low resistance bearings for your wheels, for your bottom bracket, and you can maybe save a couple of watts or something like that. I don't recommend that because if you do it on your bike, it's going to severely reduce the life of your bearings. Once you take the weather seal off, elements are going to get in there. If you do one rainy ride and it's pretty much shot, pros don't care about that. But the point I'm making is, if you are going to go this extra mile to get the most out of your bearings, steel bearings, the heavy grease removed, and just put a lighter oil in there's probably the better move. High carb fueling. 3, 2, 1.
Double thumbs up.
Double
I don't
up.
even know if I can do that.
Oh, tell us why double up.
God, I love carbs, man. We gotta carb up. It is like the single biggest improvement. It's like a performance enhancer that is unparalleled, I think. Like, if you're bonked, you're gonna be bad. It's just gonna happen. If you're not eating enough, your performance is not gonna get better. I think it's the biggest thing most amateurs can do to increase their training and just recovery, everything. Lots of carbs. Protein's important, but not having enough fuel is really gonna benefit your training and your racing more than almost anything else.
Grams of carbs per hour.
Yeah, lots. I would say when I'm training, probably 70 at a minimum per hour. Like an endurance ride is 70.
70 on an endurance ride, and then if you're out doing intervals or doing high intensity stuff.
100 if I'm doing like a long, hard race, up to 130.
Yeah, a lot. More than you think, and it's totally true. Carbs are legal dope. Like, that's the fuel, that's the jet A for our bodies. Our bodies can burn fat, but not efficiently. Disc brakes. 3, 2, 1. What?
I don't
What?
know.
Tell me.
The rim brake bikes were so good. Unless I'm racing in the rain, even if I'm racing in the rain and everybody else is on a rim brake bike, I just would rather have a rim brake bike. Like 95% of the cross.
It's so much simpler, right?
Yeah, everything's simple. It's not gonna rub. I don't know. I struggle with this one because it's nice when you really need to brake, but also rim brakes I never really had. I need to upgrade this issue.
I've told people, like if they're deciding on rim or disc brakes, all things being equal, get disc brakes. That's why I gave it the old thumbs up. But I qualify that with if you have a bunch of disc brake wheels, especially high performance carbon wheels, get rim brake because like it doesn't make that big of a difference. Now you touched on something a second ago that I thought was really interesting. I've always thought nowadays the pro Peloton, everyone's on disc brakes, but there was a time 7 years, 8 years ago where it's like half the Peloton had rim, half the Peloton had disc brakes. And this is a problem because you're going down some alpine descent, it's raining, half the field can slow at a different rate than the other half of the field, and this caused problems. So in the Peloton, I wish that things were standardized and like, okay, if you're racing, you have to have disc or you have to have rim. I think that would potentially prevent issues for differential. Like, if you're braking with rim brakes on carbon in the rain, it doesn't matter if they have the special pads, it's just slow. But that's okay because the person in front of you is also slow and everyone just kind of slows at the same rate. So anyway, I'm surprised that you give it the thumbs down.
I want rim brakes to come back.
Electronic shifting. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, wow. Electronic shifting, yes, but disc brakes, no. Do tell.
Okay, the only reason I like electronic, and I think it's worth it now, is for when my little fingies get cold, and I can't shift the front derailleur on mechanical anymore.
Yeah.
It's nice, it's fast and everything, and they've got it tuned really well, and it's cheap enough that I'm like, yes. General recommendation.
Cheap enough, because that wasn't always the case. Now you still pay a premium for electronic. It's premium. There's more going on. There's little servos and motors, and it's more expensive to produce. But back in the day, it was like 3x the cost or something. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't an early adopter. And now that I have electronic shifting, it's really hard to go back. You guys remember a couple years ago, I had that Giant, which had Ultegra mechanical, and it's like hard to complain. It's still nice, but it's not as nice as what I had before. It's like once you have it, it's hard to go back.
The maintenance on those bikes too can be a nightmare. Like changing a cable can turn into this bike is coming apart completely. Especially integrated stuff now, electronic shifting's probably.
Yeah, good point. Do you remember having to do that?
Yeah.
Like I remember, you go through the rainy season, and then you have to change cables and housing, and it's like a whole thing. Like you're taking the whole bike apart. Now, what is the expression? Buy once, cry once. Yeah. Like you have it, you spend a little bit more money, you spend a little bit more time building it, but then it's just done. And with SRAM, it's all wireless. New Shimano is like mostly wireless. It's really convenient. So nice. That's a good consideration as well. I think that if you're buying a new bike, I think that even if you're budget oriented, it's pretty hard to recommend mechanical nowadays. Oh, the big one, tubeless. Tubeless road. Sealant, all the stuff. 3, 2, 1.
I'm between.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing double up again.
No, I'm between.
Okay.
I don't know. Undecided.
Tell us, give us the pros and cons.
I have one bike with tubeless on it, the Aero that I brought here, and I've already gotten a flat, and it's like ride number 3.
Confirmed, we got a flat on our ride.
And it was a mess when we changed it. But also, you can't just leave that in your shop. You can't not ride it. You have to keep riding it, or you're maintaining the sealant. So like all the bikes I have, I ride them infrequently enough to where I just kind of want tubes in there and just like deal with it when it comes. You can change fast.
I thought this was just a me problem because I test and review a lot of stuff for this channel, as you guys know. And I'm like, I can't set everything up tubeless because then it just sits and the sealant starts to dry and it's like kind of a pain. So I run tubes for that reason. I thought this was just a me problem. It sounds like if you're doing cyclocross, if you're a multi-discipline athlete, you have a lot of stuff like Will, a lot of different equipment, totally. Like I throw tubes in there. Plus, let's not forget, like here in California, you can get by with tubes because it's just not as gnarly. Like our winters are like pretty chill.
Yeah.
So I've actually been using those wheels back there in the corner. I don't think you can see them, which have had tubes in them for a while. So I still am a fan of tubeless for the simple reason that for my race setup, which is right there, that you can run really low pressures, which is amazing. On my race setup, I would never use tubes because I can run big tires, low volume, don't worry about pinch flats, and just get that grip and that comfort in corners. So that's the big thing. A little bit more of a pain though, right? You need all this stuff. You need a special pump to like seat the tire. You don't need it, but it's really nice to have a special pump to seat the tires. You have to have the special valve. You have to have the sealant, of course. There's a barrier to entry, but I recommend it for folks because it's worth your money, and that's what this video is about. Is it worth your money or not? Tubeless, yes. All right, carbon wheels as opposed to aluminum. Carbon wheel setup, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, why?
Double up.
Double up.
Double up.
Double up.
Did I do double up? Yes,
yeah,
double
you did
up.
Double up.
Okay. To me, it's a no-brainer nowadays. When I first started racing, I did not have carbon wheels. For years, I raced on aluminum because carbon wheels are like $2,000. And they were only sold by Zip, Reynolds, are the first two that come to mind. Those are the big ones. And they were like, yeah, you want carbon wheels? That'll be $2,500. And now you can get even more high performance wheels for like half price.
Yeah.
So now it's 2 thumbs up because it's a no-brainer. Can you imagine like if I gotten the time machine and went back to me 10 years ago, Jeff, you're gonna be training on carbon wheels. I'm like, you're crazy.
That's ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense. But they're just ubiquitous now and there's a big demand. And that's because aside from tires, I think carbon wheels is like the single best upgrade you can make. They're lighter, they're stiffer, they're more aerodynamic. They help you in many ways and they're like pretty affordable now too.
I think having disc brakes as kind of a standard now is good for this too because you're not running through the brake track on the wheel anymore.
Yes.
It's not as much of a wear item because you have that replaceable wear item of the rotor.
Good point. Good point. We talked about braking earlier and we talked about rim versus disc, and that's one thing I've always said, like you buy this expensive $2,500 pair of carbon wheels and they're rim brake like they were 10 years ago, and you are just slowly wearing through the brake track. Another reason why I think that disc brakes are a good idea. So next is one-piece bar stem. 3, 2, 1. I'm like, I have these. Yeah, come on, there we go. I'm in between. I don't know. You gave it a thumbs up.
Yeah,
okay.
I think they're a good thing. I mean, it sucks to crash on because you just blow through your bar and your stem. And I think the improvement in these could be made with the standardization. Like they should all just kind of fit the same interface. The headset and the spacers should be the same.
Yes.
I think overall, the cleanliness of the look and having the cables through, once you get it set up, super nice. Like I like it. I think it's a good upgrade for performance and for racing.
And aesthetics too, let's be honest.
Aesthetics.
It just looks
gorgeous.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I think that this is a bigger conversation, but just a standard setup versus a proprietary setup, just in general in bikes. Is that a topic that we could do? Let's go yes to standardization, because road bikes are doing this thing nowadays, 2025, where I want to put my wind space bars on my Tubeless bike. Do you have the right top cap for the top headset bearing? Bottom bracket, do you have the right bearing for the axle of the crank that matches the shell of, is it threaded? Like, there's standards, but there's so many standards, it's no longer a standard. It kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Seat posts?
Seat posts, yeah, everything. The D-shaped seat posts, just make them all the same. Like, I want a derailleur hanger for all my bikes.
Yes.
You know? I want a bottom bracket that fits on all. I know it's like not cutting edge once you do that to every single bike, but I don't care.
Hot take, it would sort of level the playing field too.
Yeah.
Like if racers, hey, you have to have these certain standards, you wouldn't have this discrepancy. You couldn't buy a bunch of performance. And I think there's something to be said for that, right? Okay, that's a whole video topic I think that we could get into. Let's move on. Carbon rails on your saddle. 3, 2, 1. I guess not. I don't know. I don't have strong opinions. What do you think?
I mean, how much weight are you actually gonna save with these?
Is it a weight thing?
Yeah, it's
just a weight thing, right?
It's just lighter, you know? And I know some guys who blow through these saddles. Like, you hit something too hard, you crash, your saddle is completely toast. Like, it's not even bent, your rails are just disconnected from your saddle now. Like,
that happened on my Scott, actually.
That's, I feel like you're adding in failure points for the sake of 10 grams, something like that. It's just not, in my opinion, worth it, especially for crit racing or anything where 10 grams isn't gonna
Yeah, yeah. If it's for performance, if it's for like weight savings, no. And they're expensive.
They're
too.
expensive.
High volume tires. We're talking about like 30 millimeter plus tires. 3, 2, 1.
Yes, double. Chonk up.
Chonk up. I have, and I raced this last weekend on 32s. Well, I think it's 30 in the front, 32 in the back. That's because I just didn't have another 32. Otherwise, I'd run 32s. So, a couple of things. They're just better. They're just better. And let me tell you why. Well, actually, let's first talk about the reasons why they're not better, because that list is much shorter. They are slightly less aerodynamic. I think Dylan Johnson did a video about like the aero penalty of having a wider front end. It's not as much as you think. You can go check out his video on that. It's not as much as you think. The other thing that surprised me is I was like, surely they're much heavier. It's actually not that big of a difference. Now, don't quote me on this, but I remember being like, I think it was like 40 grams for going from like a 28 to a 32. We did that. That's from the video we did last year.
Yeah, we did.
40?
It's not much.
It's not much. It's probably not 40.
Like eat less cheese before the race.
Yeah. We're talking about just like a little bit of extra water in your bottle. It's not a whole lot. So those are the drawbacks. They're not any more expensive. It's the same compound. The list of benefits is enormous. So they're the same price. You can run higher volume tires at lower pressures because there's just more material there to absorb. And speaking of absorbing, you get better rolling resistance. Not just better rolling resistance, so it's more efficient. You're going faster for the same amount of power. You also are, and this is really important and not often talked about, you are cornering faster. You're grippier. You have a less chance of crashing because you are running lower pressure. There's a bigger contact patch. And in crits, we spend 50% of the race like entering or exiting a corner. Really important.
Yeah, I'd say the confidence of these tires is hard to understate too, because you just feel like you're a better bike rider than anybody else when you have these massive tires on. It's like, oh, I have extra grip than this guy in front of me. And you're like, this guy's bumping around and he's a little scared. I think that part is super important for racing, and you're just comfortable for so much more of it. It's hard to measure rolling resistance on bumpy terrain, like the bicycle rolling resistance. They're on a steel drum, so like a 32 might actually have a little more on that steel drum, but I'd say in the real world, we're seeing gravel racers use mountain bike tires because they're faster, so I'd say that crosses over to like unsmooth pavement as well.
And if you haven't experienced it, I recently went from 28s with a tube, the training wheels I was talking about, to my race setup, which are 32s tubeless, and I was like, do I have a flat? Like it feels like you are riding on a cloud. It's amazing. There's confidence there. Short cranks. We're talking like I would say anything shorter than the standard 172.5 cranks. 3, 2, 1. Easy yes. And I'll tell you why. There is no known performance drawback. There have been studies done on this, and they've run like really. I think Dylan Johnson. I'm gonna shout out Dylan Johnson again. He's talked about this on his channel. They ran really short cranks, like 150, and then really long cranks, and you don't see any significant performance hit, if at all, on 165s, which is what I run. So if the performance doesn't change, then all it is positive, because what ends up happening is you can pedal longer through a corner. We talked about crit racing and how important it is to be able to corner quickly. And if you can pedal a little bit longer without pedal striking, which is where your pedal hits the ground and you end up crashing, you get bucked. It's bad. Every crit racer has experienced this. You can reduce the likelihood of a pedal strike with shorter cranks. So I've been running 165s now for actually a long time. This is one thing that I actually was an early adopter on. I'm usually pretty late to the show on a lot of this technology, but I am very much in favor of short cranks, 165s.
I think another benefit of this is because you have less stroke in your legs, you can raise your saddle and then lower your front end too. So you get more aerodynamic because your legs are moving less high and they're not going to hit the top of that range of motion. So aerodynamics are better, cornering's better. You could probably reduce like hip and knee issues. Fit problems are going to be reduced.
Not such a sharp hip angle when you have shorter cranks as well. Good point. Aero optimized bottles. 3, 2, 1. I'm going yes and no. What do you do? Yes?
Yeah, I have a caveat to it, but
Okay. We might have the same caveat. You want to go?
Generally, yes. Yeah, so the only ones that I actually really enjoy for road racing are the ones that Trek came out with, where it's an aero optimized bottle for road bikes. They're not like super aero, you're not adding a bunch, but it's already on there. That's like the oldest tech we have. You know, we've had like the standard round bottle. We know round shapes aren't super aerodynamic
awful,
anyway.
yeah.
So like, why haven't we changed this? Trek finally bucked up and changed it, and you can fit a normal bottle in there if you need to.
Bingo.
That's what I need, is a normal bottle to fit in there. But they look fine, they fit in well, and they're aero. I think that's a benefit for me.
He has them on his Haro. We'll put some B-roll of his Haro here. I think the only thing I'll add is I have aero optimized bottles that came from a bike that I don't use because it doesn't accept a standard bottle in the cage, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
So I think that the sweet spot is an aero optimized bottle. This is the bottle technology. The cylinder is 100 years old or something, right? It's like it's always been on bikes. So why are we doing that? Why do we change the shape? If it's something that is universal, this comes back to our like proprietary versus standard conversation. Is it universal? Can it accept a regular bottle because those aren't going away? And can it work on all of my bikes? I know some aero bottles are specific for that frame. I don't want to go down that path because it's more proprietary. So anyway, that's why I gave it the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Professional bike fits. 3, 2, 1.
I'm in between.
Do tell.
I've had one professional bike fit ever, and we changed a lot, and I slowly got used to it, but it wasn't a noticeable performance gain for me. So I view this as more of like a prescribed resolution to a problem, where if you have issues, something feels wrong, get a pro bike fit and it might help fix it, but it's kind of a dark art in a lot of ways, and it's hard to find pro bike fitters that are gonna work with you and do the exactly correct bike fit for your physiology. So that's why I'm in between. Not everybody needs them. It's expensive.
I've had two. I had one that I would recommend, and it was the simple one. It was like a long time ago, 12, 13 years ago. And I realized that my fit was bad. And it was what was causing, I was having a lot of like tricep problems because I was having way too much weight on my hands. And I think it was simple. I can't remember exactly how much it was. It was at a local bike shop. They helped me out. They put me on a stationary bike and they got me really close to where I needed to be. The second one I would not recommend, which was the whole bells and whistles, the expensive one, so you guys can save money here. I went and I got the retool from like Specialized with all the sensors. And the funny part about that was I made like one tiny little adjustment that didn't really make any difference. And that was the expensive one. So I think you get the first one and you can make very minor adjustments from there to address certain issues you might be having in your fit. But I do think it's important for new racers, especially if there's some symptom they're having, to go see a professional and have a bike fit, even if it's at your local bike shop for $50 or whatever it costs. Threaded bottom brackets. 3, 2, 1. Yes.
1,000 times, yes, please.
And here's why. Like, I get the argument that press fit is more performant. More performant? It's
lighter.
It's lighter. Yeah, that's probably, let's just say lighter, because you don't need as much material in your bottom bracket to accommodate threads. But it just opens the door to issues. Like, I've been pretty lucky. I have had bikes with press fit bottom bracket issues, the infamous creaking. You have to take it apart, re-grease it, put it back together, and it's a problem. Or sometimes just the manufacturing, the tolerances, you guys have to understand, like a press fit bottom bracket tolerances are like fractions of a millimeter. And this could have serious implications to not just the creaking and the annoyance, but also like how the bearing spins, the bottom bracket bearing spins once it's pressed into place. I don't care if my bottom bracket or my frame in that case weighs another like 30 grams or whatever it is, because threaded, it just locks it into place and you have a perfect circle and they're locked. And it's gonna align perfectly and there's gonna be no problems with your crank axle going through. So yeah, I get press fit is like technically better, but not worth it.
I think it opens it up to maintaining them at home too, because you just need one tool.
Yes.
Unthreaded at home, you don't need like the full press and everything, and it's a lower barrier to entry, I think, for the home mechanic, and I'm 100% for that.
For sure. One by. 3, 2, 1. Oh!
I'm in.
Tell us why.
One ring is awesome for crit racing. I like, if I'm gonna do mostly crit racing, I'm gonna go with one by. I think it simplifies everything. You don't have that front derailleur, you don't have all that mess. You're not gonna drop the chain off the front, most likely. Like,
wait, most likely?
Most likely. If you do, it's an issue, but go to the pit. You know,
right?
You drop your chain off the front, and like you can't get it back on. Maybe that's not a pit excuse, but like
up to the official.
Yeah, up to the official. So yeah, I'm in for it. I think it's coming with 13 speed stuff. You're definitely gonna see a lot more one by, even 12 speed. I think 12 gears is plenty for a crit that's not super uphill. Training, I like a 2x still, and for road races, often I like a 2x. Although we did a really hilly road race, and we talked about never shifting out of our front big ring, so maybe a 1x would have been fine there too.
Would have been fine. Okay, so I have some thoughts. Like, the dropping the chain issue in a race is real, because if you don't have a front mech, a front derailleur, if you drop the chain in the front, like, you're getting off your bike.
Yeah.
There's no way to get it back on.
Well, you could, but
you can
we don't
down.
recommend it.
You reach
I've
down.
done it before. It's scary.
Yeah. So that's one issue, but the other thing is, like, bikes don't generally ship this way. That's kind of a big thing. Like, if you had the option, when you're building a bike, let's say Specialized sells a bike or something like that, and if they had the option to choose one by, might be on board, because I think for some people who do all of their racing and all of their training in areas where you don't need a small ring, then don't have a small ring. If you're not going to use it, then you don't need it, and don't buy it. But usually, this might change in years to come. This is something that you are changing on your bike after the fact. You buy your bike and then you're like, okay, I'm going to get rid of the crank and I'm going to buy a new 1x setup. And to me, it's like, just keep what's on there because it's fine. And now you have a front mech. The weight savings isn't as much as people think either. Front derailleur is not that heavy, and it can save you in a race if you ship a chain. So that's why I'm giving it thumbs down. On that note, big chain rings. We're talking like, let's say like 55 teeth and above. 3, 2, 1. I'm mixed. How am I doing? Yes, I'm mixed. You're saying no.
I'm saying no.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done like almost every big race in the United States with a 52, and I never felt like it was an issue. I think
5211?
5211. Efficiency, you could say it's a benefit, but we're splitting hairs there, and to have a 52 on there is going to give you a better gear range, especially if you're 1x. Like a 52, it's fine, it's good. You're not going to run into it until you're like needing to pedal at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And in which case, just
tuck.
Aero tuck.
Yeah, just
like,
tuck a little bit. Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of mixed on it, because if you're really searching for additional performance, which if you're like a World Tour rider or something, and I imagine none of my audience are a World Tour rider, maybe a couple. But if you're really looking for those final couple percentage points, chainline efficiency is a thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be this is an argument against 1x also. Like, you don't want to have this big cross chain pattern, whether it's, from the big ring on the front to the big cassette sprocket on the back, or if it's the little to the small. Like, you just don't want your chain at these high angles, because it doesn't move as efficiently and you're leaving some watts on the table. What a big 58 tooth chainring does is allows you to race most of your crit or your road race, your flat road race, in like a very straight chain line. And yeah, it's not much. That's why I said it's just a couple of percentage points, but it's, a handful of watts or something, 2 or 3 watts. But generally, I think that whatever comes stock on your bike is gonna be fine. Your 5339 standard or your 52 mid-compact, is that what it's called?
Semi-compact?
Semi-compact. 5236 is gonna be fine too. But if you're looking for those final couple percentage points, get yourself a cool looking 58 tooth chainring. Narrow bars. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Yeah. The bars that fit, I think, are good. I mean, I've got 38s on my bike right now, and I'm contemplating going to a 36.
Yeah.
Like, it feels too wide now almost, but I think people get bikes with bars that are too wide. Stop speccing 44 mil bars on like a 56 centimeter bike.
Yeah.
Please, bike manufacturers. That's what I got.
It is weird. So there's the Aero benefits of just being a little bit narrower on the front end. If you're a really broad-shouldered person, that's the general rule, right? Is like match your shoulder width. Yeah. Because if you're broad shoulder and you get really narrow bars, your elbows are going to stick out. So it kind of defeats the purpose. One thing though that's really nice when you're racing in a pack, whether it's a road race or a crit, is you just have less. There's just less width. Like you can't narrow the bars anymore. You can get yourself a little bit more narrow in a pack. But we just raced this weekend. I remember there was a moment I was really trying to position myself before the climb.
Diving gaps.
And I was like, I went in and I felt hips on my right hand and my left hand. I felt hips. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't have 44s because then I would probably introduce myself to the ground in that specific scenario. So there is a benefit in pack riding to have narrow bars beyond just the aerodynamic benefit. All right, I hope that helps, guys. We probably missed some topics that you guys are curious about. So drop a question down in the comments and Will and I will be down there answering your questions. Thanks for watching. 2 thumbs up for this video. 2 thumbs up for your hitting the subscribe button. Nailed it. Catch you guys in the next one.